There's something powerful, yes, something sacred about a woman who lays her head on her pillow alone, night after night, and still rises with strength in her soul and purpose in her heart. The world may see an empty bed, but heaven sees a holy battlefield. Because when a woman sleeps alone and keeps her peace, keeps her purity, and keeps her praise, God is in that room. Don't you dare scroll away. Don't turn this message off, because what I'm about to tell you may explain why your nights feel long, why your tears feel ignored, and why no one seems to understand what you're carrying in secret. You think you're alone, but God sent this word to remind you you're not forgotten, you're being prepared. And before this message ends, you'll see your midnight season in a new light. The world tells you that sleeping alone is a sign of loneliness. But in the kingdom of God, sleeping alone can be a sign of divine protection. God isn't keeping you single to punish you. He's guarding your space because your future is too valuable to share with someone who's not assigned to it. You're not unwanted. You're being hidden for something holy. A woman who sleeps alone with integrity is not weak. She's dangerous because her power doesn't come from people. It comes from time spent with God in silence. That empty side of the bed, it's not a void. It's a reminder that God has placed His angels in the room. You've been kept, not rejected, and your bedroom has become your altar. The same place where you cry, where you wrestle, where you ask God why. It is there that heaven has been writing your story. Some of the strongest women walk through seasons of complete separation, not because they are hard to love, but because they are too deep for surface-level connection. God won't allow a counterfeit to lie next to you when He's still building the real one. The woman who sleeps alone is often the woman God is shaping for impact, for calling, for legacy. Separation is not punishment, it is preparation. Let me speak this clearly. If you have protected your body, guarded your heart, and stayed faithful in the dark, then you are not behind. You are right on schedule. Don't let the enemy lie to you and make you think your worth is tied to who lays beside you. No, your worth is tied to who lives inside you, and the Spirit of God never sleeps. Your quiet nights are not wasted. Your tears are not ignored. The same God who sees you turning off the light alone is the same God who is fighting battles for you in the unseen. Every time you said no to settling, no to loneliness wrapped in flesh, no to temporary comfort, you are saying yes to something eternal. So tonight when you lie down, and there's no hand to hold, no voice to say I love you, remember this: God sees, God knows, and God is near. Your silence is full of His presence. Your bed is not a place of defeat. It is the place where destiny is being birthed. And when the time is right, when your heart is healed, when your faith is full, and when the right one has been prepared, then and only then will God allow someone to share that sacred space with you. Until then you sleep alone, but not unloved, not unwanted, not unworthy. You are a woman God trusts, and that is why He has set you apart. Stay faithful, stay patient, and remember, the strongest women often sleep alone before their greatest rise. There is a lie that's been whispered into the hearts of many women, that if you're sleeping alone, you must be lonely, that if there's no one beside you, something must be missing. But I want to tell you today that aloneness is not emptiness. Just because a room is quiet doesn't mean it lacks power. Just because a bed holds only one doesn't mean God isn't near. In fact, some of the most powerful encounters with God happen in those very moments when the world has gone to sleep, when there's no one around to impress, no voice but your own, and no arms but His. It's in that space that heaven leans in. A woman who sleeps alone and still carries peace in her spirit is walking in a kind of strength this world cannot understand. She's not searching for validation in the presence of another, because she's already found her identity in the presence of the Almighty. There is a kind of sacred stillness in that solitude. It's the kind of space where you can finally hear God clearly, where you can cry and laugh and worship without judgment, without distraction. It's where healing begins. It's where clarity comes. It's where God restores your heart after every disappointment and disappointment. The world sees emptiness, but God sees a vessel, a woman who chooses not to fill her life with noise, who doesn't rush to occupy her space with the wrong people, becomes a vessel God can trust. The oil flows best into empty vessels, not ones cluttered with compromise. And in the stillness of that room, in the quiet of that night, in the silence of that bed, the Spirit of God moves. He fills, He heals, He transforms. We live in a loud world, a world where noise is constant and distraction is always near. But the voice of God doesn't compete with chaos. He doesn't shout over the music, the scrolling, or the busy schedules. No, God often chooses to speak in the stillness, in those quiet hours, when the room is dark, the phone is silent, and the only sound is the beating of your heart. That's where His whispers are heard most clearly. And for the woman who sleeps alone at home, those whispers are everything. Sometimes you wonder why the nights are so long, why sleep feels like a battle, why it seems like heaven is silent. But could it be that God is waiting for you to lean in? Could it be that He's drawing you closer, not by speaking louder, but by quieting everything else around you? He doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes He comes in a whisper, a feeling, a moment that changes everything. A woman who sleeps alone is not just being kept, she's being called. God has set aside that space so He can speak to her directly. When no one else is in the room, His presence fills it. When there's no one else to talk to, He becomes the counselor. When tears fall, and there's no hand to wipe them, He becomes the comforter. It's in that space, where the heart is honest, and the distractions are gone, that the voice of God is clearest. In the silence, He gives instruction. In the silence, He heals wounds that conversation can't touch. In the silence, He breathes vision, direction and fire into your bones. His silence isn't absence, it's intimacy, it's invitation. It's Him saying, I have something to say, but I need your full attention. There's a reason why God pulls certain women into seasons of separation. It's not rejection, it's not abandonment, it's preparation. When a woman finds herself sleeping alone, night after night, not because she wants to be alone, but because she refuses to settle, that's a sign that heaven is working. God separates who He is getting ready to elevate. He isolates who He intends to anoint. And that season of solitude is not empty, it's pregnant with purpose. Before God sends a woman into her next season, He often strips away the distractions. He removes the noise. He pulls her out of environments that fed her flesh, but starved her spirit. Why? Because divine assignments require clean hearts and focused minds. And you can't carry out heaven's mission while clinging to earthly attachments. So God puts you in a place where it's just you and Him. No relationship to hide behind, no false comfort to lean on. It's in that separation that character is refined, faith is tested, and strength is built. The world may mock your singleness. People may ask, why are you still alone? But they don't see the spiritual training happening behind closed doors. They don't know the conversations you're having with God at 2 a.m. They don't understand the oil being poured into you while others are chasing attention. Your separation is not without reason. It's sacred ground. Just like Moses had to leave Egypt and David had to run to the cave, you too are being shaped in a season no one sees. When God gets ready to use a woman in a mighty way, He first teaches her to walk alone, so that when the spotlight comes, she doesn't depend on it. She already learned to stand strong in the shadows. There are women who wonder why they can't seem to attract the attention others do, why the phone doesn't ring, why their bed stays empty, while others jump from one connection to the next. And deep inside, they question, is something wrong with me? But what if I told you that what looks like rejection is actually protection? What if your lack of attention is not a curse, but a covering from God? You see, not every man who wants access to you deserves it. Not every invitation is divine, and not every connection is safe. When you are chosen, you don't get to live like everyone else. You don't get to share your heart, your body, or your peace with just anyone. And so God steps in, not to punish you, but to preserve you. He blocks what looks good, but is meant for destruction. He shuts doors you were tempted to open. He lets you sleep alone, because what you carry is too holy to be contaminated by casual affection. A woman protected by God may not be popular in the eyes of people. She may not get invited to every table, noticed by every man, or praised by every voice, but she is guarded by heaven. Her space is sacred, her atmosphere is pure, and her room, though quiet, is filled with glory. When you've been set apart for something eternal, you won't be able to blend in with the temporary. You won't be able to entertain what drains your spirit. And the reason you sleep alone may not be because no one desires you, but because God won't allow anyone unworthy to cross that threshold. That is not rejection. That is divine security. That is God's love protecting your purpose. Strength isn't always forged in public battles or loud victories. Sometimes, the greatest strength is built in the quiet, behind closed doors, when no one is clapping and no one is watching. A woman who sleeps alone learns this deeply. She doesn't have someone to lean on, no one to talk her through the pain, no voice whispering, "You'll be okay." Yet she gets up every morning, puts her feet on the ground, and moves forward. That is strength. While others rely on companionship for security, she learns to lean on God. While others escape into temporary relationships to avoid loneliness, she faces the silence head-on, and it's in that silence that her spirit grows strong. Because real strength isn't just found in how much you can carry, it's found in how you carry it, when no one helps you lift it. The woman who walks through long cold seasons of solitude isn't weak. She's being trained by heaven for something others won't understand. She becomes emotionally self-sustaining, not because she doesn't desire love, but because she has learned to survive without begging for it. Her confidence isn't loud, but it's deeply rooted. Her peace doesn't depend on who comes or goes, and her joy, it's not tied to the presence of a man. It's anchored in the promises of God. While others build themselves through relationships, she builds herself through prayer. While others search for strength in external validation, she finds hers in the presence of the one who never leaves. And though the bed may be empty, her soul is full. Her muscles, spiritual, emotional, and mental, are stronger than ever, not because life has been easy, but because God has been faithful in the lonely nights, where strength is silently built. When a woman chooses to remain faithful during a season of silence, when she stays pure, stays hopeful, stays prayerful, even when no one is looking, she is walking in a level of spiritual maturity that few ever reach. It's one thing to stay strong when there's applause, encouragement, and support, but it's another to stay strong when the room is silent, when the nights are cold, and when every part of you wants to give up. That's not just willpower, that's favor in disguise. You see, when heaven watches a woman stay loyal to God in the dark, it's taking note. It's recording her consistency, her tears, her worship, her obedience. While others may think she's wasting her best years, waiting on a promise, God sees her as planting seeds of favor that will bloom in due season. Faithfulness in the dark is not wasted, it's weighed, and the heavier the price, the greater the reward. There are women right now who could have compromised. They could have chosen temporary affection over spiritual cover. They could have settled, given in, or walked away from God, but they didn't. They stayed, they prayed, they believed. And that's not weakness, that's warfare. Every quiet yes to God was a blow against the enemy's plan to break them. When you choose faithfulness while sleeping alone, when you choose to honor God, even when it hurts, you're not being overlooked, you're being trusted. God doesn't favor the loudest, He favors the faithful. He favors the ones who praise with a broken heart, who fast while no one sees, who worship with tears on their pillow. That kind of devotion doesn't go unnoticed in heaven. It opens doors, it shifts seasons, it moves the heart of God in ways public faith never could. So tonight, if you're a woman who sleeps alone, I want you to understand this. You are not forgotten, you are not forsaken, and you are certainly not weak. You are being prepared, you are being protected, you are being poured into by the very hand of God. The silence you feel is not a punishment, it's a sanctuary. The emptiness is not abandonment, it's divine space carved out for something sacred to be born. What the world calls loneliness, heaven calls intimacy. And when you rise out of this season, you won't be the same. You won't be empty. You won't be desperate. You'll be full of wisdom anchored in strength, rich in discernment, and glowing with the kind of power that only solitude with God can create. Don't let the enemy convince you that this quiet season is meaningless. It's everything. It's holy. It's heavy with destiny. The bed may be empty, but your calling is full. And when God sends what's meant for you, it won't be to complete you. It will be to complement the strength you already carry. So stay faithful, stay strong, stay surrendered. Heaven is watching. God is near. And the woman who sleeps alone tonight may very well be the woman who leads others to healing tomorrow. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply being built. And when God is done building, the world will wonder how you made it through the night. But you'll know, it was never the silence that kept you. It was always His hand. Amen.